Yeah, so ingredients. Yeah, ingredients are ingredients for noodles, sukiyaki noodles, and yeah, so sukiyaki noodles like is going to be thick, thick noodles, thick noodles. Like it's I can say that it's the opposite of Hakata style, like thin and hard noodles, and it's thick and it's well soft and chewy. And so when you're making like thick noodles, like tukumi noodles, the what we want to be careful about is the hardness, right? Hardness because it's thick, right? Because the noodles are thick, so we want to, you know, be careful about the hardness of the noodles, and the hardness comes from the protein of the flour we use, right? And then the amount of water we add to the flour to make dough. And so what she's doing now is that like she's dissolving the currency and salt in the water. And so this is what like she's gonna add to flour in this mixer unit. And so yeah, the hardness comes from like protein and flour and protein wheat flour and amount of water we add, right? And so basically the protein, like more protein, the harder, right? And then less water, harder. So what we want to do, right, too, because like these thick noodles, like we don't want the thick noodles that are like really hard. They're just that's a really bad combination for when it comes to like noodle texture. And so yeah, for tsukeme noodles, like we want to add more water, right? And we want to use flour, wheat flour that has less protein content. Otherwise, like we don't end up like making thick noodles that are hard. So that's really bad for sukemen noodles. And so yeah, so maybe we prepare this dough in advance. Yeah, I want to thank her for preparing it because that's saving like well um, 6 minutes. And look at the size of the dough, right? It's like crumbles the dough, and so this is a kind of hydration of dough that's for kind of skimming noodle like she's making today. And the speed, you're looking at the speed, the volume that you can adjust to speed up and down of the roller, right? Rolling the sheeting process. And so first off, like we are making this sheet of dough, right? Sheet of dough that's still like pretty rough. And but like she's so feeding the dough to the roller, and then that's gonna well press it together to make a sheet of dough, right? And yeah, so she added actually it's not just the flour first, like she added like actually whole wheat. Um, Yeah, whole wheat flour. Like you maybe like notice like there are some like dots on that dough. Those are the those are some like I think like those like some whole wheat powder. And the reason like we sometimes add like whole wheat grain powder is like they well basically the noodles like look healthier. Yeah, and well, of course, definitely healthier, reality, but like, well, just the, well, that looks of it, like the appearance, you know, makes you think that it's the noodles are healthier than the regular ones. Anyway, so she's adding, feeding it to the rollers, and yeah, so that's how it goes. And yeah, this machine's pretty quiet. Yeah, it's pretty quiet. Like while she's like sheeting it, like rolling. Yeah, it doesn't make much noise at all. Like so, yeah. So you yeah, it's almost like yeah, it makes you wonder like if the machine is like moving at all or yeah. And then they noticed that like so she's like doing the rolling operation at the same time like she's doing the mixing operation, right? So you can do two processes simultaneously, right? The same time. So like you're gonna make like dough, the mixer, and you're gonna do the sheeting process and the rolling unit at the same time. So you're gonna be you can be making actually like different types of noodles at the same time in that sense. And so next process, it's like because the dough is still the fragile, um, pretty weak, right? It's easy to tear. So we want to make it stronger, like firmer. So that's how we do it. Like so, like we separate it into two sheets and then combine them together into one through rollers, and we call it combining process. And so the dough that's coming out like is actually pretty. I mean, the stronger than before. Yeah, I guess like the machine is pretty quiet, and then like in this process, like, and then the process before that, we want to go slow. We want to go slow because we want to go slow, right? And then the dough sheet like go pass through that roller gap like slowly. So the moment like the dough gets like kind of sufficient pressure uh, through the passing, right? So that's good. That works on the gluten structure inside the dough, and so that's good for well, basically developing the great noodle texture. And so this is the second combining process. So we usually do like this process like one to twice, right? And then um, just to make sure the dough is well thoroughly developed in terms of like gluten structure. And but like from this point on, right? We're gonna run the duster, automatic duster, and because from this point on, like we want to be, you know, we don't want the dough to from sticking together, right? So we're gonna dust it, and yeah, we want to dust them well, because the tsukime noodles is usually high in hydration and higher hydration like the weather, right? And so the more you want to dust to make sure it's gonna stick, right? It's not gonna stick. And dusting powder is like usually in Japan, like we have like um, special flour, actually starch for dusting, but that's not readily available in overseas. So in overseas, like we usually use the cornstarch, yeah, basically cornstarch and some people use potato starch as well, but we usually use corn starch. So yeah, you maybe notice that like the roller get faster a little bit because yeah, she turned up the volume of speed. But yeah, we can go faster from this point on because the dough is thoroughly developed and yeah, for good noodle texture, right? And then so that's the thinning process, thinning process, and see. So another round of thinning. So we want to gradually thin the dough to make sure, like, we're not gonna damage the gluten structure inside dough. If you just, we can probably go from like maybe 4 millimeter to maybe 1 millimeter with one run sheeting, right? But like that's the, that's too hard on the dough, and like yeah, it's gonna really damage the dough. Yeah, so like that undermines the noodle texture. So we want to gradually thin it. So that's why, like, we're just doing like a couple rounds of sheeting before we reach that final thickness. And so before you start cutting noodles, right? Like we want to measure the actual thickness because it's always bigger, and that's 2.5 millimeter, and 2.5 when it's going through like 2 millimeter. So that's how much the dough bounced back, right? That's how much like dough expanded after it's gone through the roll gap, and that's 0.5 millimeter. So we can expect the dough to bounce back, right? After it's going through the roller gap and going through that cutter, and so 0.5 millimeter, like that's well bigger, right? It's going to be thicker. It's going through the roller gap, and this is the cutter we're going to use, and this is a number 12 cutter, and so each groove is 2.5 millimeter in width, and that's the width, right? That's the width of the noodles, and thickness thickness controlled by the roller gap, like the clearance between these two rollers. And for this side, right, ideal thickness is 2.2 millimeter. Like the thickness 2.2 millimeter, so that to be like 2.2 by 2.5, 2.2 by 2.5. That's the dimension of the noodle. So let's start cutting, right? The noodles are coming out, and okay, and so this is a high hydration noodle, and then like thick noodles, and so depending on the serving size that you decide for your shop, your business, right? You can adjust the serving size by like changing the length of the noodle, and well, it's high hydration noodles, like being heavier, the low hydration noodle, and then like it's bigger. So even it's like if it's shorter than well, some like low hydration noodle, like medium hydration noodle, uh, yeah, the weight itself may be bigger. So the key is to just weigh the noodles, right? Like one serving, one serving, and yeah, and then adjust the length, like to well, the serving size you want, right, for your business. So that's how we make like tsukimi noodles from scratch for kotteri ramen dipping soup. So, all right, let's go to our ramen school kitchen, and I think our instructor is waiting for us. Okay. Okay, it's 5:30 and 5:25 in Japan, and like this is our showroom, and yeah, nobody's here, but um, this is our kitchen. This is our kitchen, where we conduct the cooking sections of ramen school, and yeah, actually we are conducting ramen school like pretty soon, like in a few weeks, um, and yeah, so Miss Sano, our instructor, well, we'd like to have her to teach us how to put together kotte ramen soup dish. Like that's going to be tsukemen this time around. So thank you, Miss Sano. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna make tsukemen, but like no, because it's gonna take a while to cook tsukemen noodles. So let's start cooking noodles first. Yeah, so it's gonna take a while. So let's start cooking the noodles first. All right. So let's see what we have here. Okay. はい、どうぞ。作るんですけど、前からお話ししてるんですけど、そのつけ麺とかラーメンはこのスープベースと元だれと香味油が使ってます。Yeah, so we were talking about it before about like tsukemen soup base. Tsukemen like consists of like tsukemen sauce, like consists of well soup base, right, and then the tare and flavor oil. で今日はそのスープベースのお話をしたいと思います。Yeah, and then so today, like let me talk about the soup base. でね、つけ麺なんで豚の骨でスープベースを作ったんですけど。So today, like for this soup base, like I made the soup base like using these pork ingredients. でこれは健骨で。So that's pork legs, right? Then pork trotters. はい。でこれをお水に入れてくつくつ煮るとこんな感じになります。Yeah. So when we cook them like for a long time, and then becomes yeah, like this, right? Like still some pork legs like thighs, still you see them. 骨の周りのお肉とかもかけて骨だけになります。Yeah, so like some of the meats like still well left on the bones are like already like melted into the stock, right? But like this you can still see the bones, right? Bones like a bone marrow in there, like all like also like melted in the stock as well. 煮詰めてすごい濃度の今スープベースが出来上がる。Yeah, so like just constantly like, keep like boiling down, and then like well, it's just stuff like that really high density. でこの状態じゃ骨が混じっててザラザラして使えないのでこれをこして使っていきます。Yeah, so we can't really like use this stock like this, right? Like so we have to strain it because like otherwise like customers would have like feel like all these not so feel good texture of from like residual like of these like meats and like bones in their mouth. So I'm gonna strain them. はい。でこれこすやつですね。That's big soup strainer. So usually we like hand strain them, right? Hand strain them, right? So we'll like just kind of hand strain like this, just making sure that like all the stock, it's just pure stock being strained, right? Yeah, so like that's how you sort of like kind of keep straining.
で、これをまあスープがなくなるまで頑張って続けていくんですけど、まあ、すごい大変でしんどいです。
Yeah, so we have to like keep doing this process like until like we strain like all the stock, right? And but it's really cumbersome, like it's very labor intensive and time consuming.
でまあ、スープ自体もすごい重いし、人でも取られてしまいます、このスープベース、こしめに。
Yeah, so well, just to strain the stock, right? It just takes time, like and then like labor. You have to like have like someone who's like dedicated to this task, right?
でそこでですね、
And
こちら。
so instead of like doing that by hand, right? We usually use this soup straining machine.
でスープこし器って自動でスープをこしてくれる機械があります。
So yeah, so this is soup straining machine, and
でまあ、この上にスープをガラッと乗せてあげると、くるくるくるくる回って下からこされたスープが出てくる。
yeah, so how you use it is like it's pretty simple. Like you're just gonna put that stock on top of this straining machine, and the straining machine like just gonna spin inside, right? Just spin it, spin it, spin it, and then just yeah, using power like centrifuge, the you're just gonna automatically strain it.
ちょっと実際に使ってみます。
Okay, so let's start using it.
でまあ、コンセントを挿してもらって、主電源入れたら一応動くようになってます。
Yeah, so it's plugged in and powered right now. Okay, and turn on the switch. Okay. Okay.
で、ここのなんかダイヤルみたいなところをオンにすると、
Yeah, so like turn on the switch, right? And then like it's gonna start spinning, right? And then so let's put a soup in there. Hmm? Oh, wait, there's a plug in there. So the strange stock like just coming out. On the bottom. Yeah, so that's how this soup strainer, strain the stock.
この上に網があるので、ここで大きい骨とかを拾ってくれるので、結構蒸しやすくなってます。
Yeah, that lid right has like this hole, right, and then it functions like kind of filter and like kind of catching like all the big bones, and so so the big bones are not gonna like get in there, kind of disturbing all the straining process. So that's makes it easier to strain.
こんな感じで骨が残ってるので、蒸しやすい。
Yeah, so yeah, all the big bones are caught in that lid. Yeah, so it's much easier than a like hand straining process. Like it's automatic and okay. Okay, so I think the noodles are done. So I asked someone else to take them out. Okay, so that's how we kind of strain stock, especially kotteri ramen stock. Yeah, so yeah, the stock that we just strained, right? Like we're gonna use it like for tonkotsu ramen soup. Okay.
で、そのまんま、つけ麺に使うのは濃度がちょっと物足りないので、その場合はちょっと煮詰めてあげます。
Okay, so for tsukemen, right? The stock density is not like actually enough for like tsukemen sauce because we want to make it like thicker, even thicker, right? And so
で、サバ節とウルメ節っていうのを500g に対して1%入れて、ちょっと香りだったり風味をつけながら煮詰めていきます。
okay, so the soup base, right? So we're gonna put that like brown herring and like mackerel flakes, dry flakes. Um, well, the amount is just 1% to the weight of the base stock, right? And then you're gonna put it in there like base stock, and then like just heat it, and then like kind of boiling down the base stock, kind of like flavoring that stock with this
で、
seafood.
はい、煮詰めてあげるので、より濃度の高いドロッとしたつけ麺に向いたスープが出来上がります。
Yeah, so by it's like boiling down the stock with these ingredients in. Um, yeah, so we can we can make it like sort of thicker and with the like flavor of like all these fish flakes.
煮詰めたものがこちらですね、用意してます。
And so that's the stock that is like I boil it down like in advance. Okay.
はい、で、さっきこの節類を一緒に炊き込むという話だったんですけど、炊いた後はこれまたザラザラするんで、こしてあげてください。
Right. So yeah, so we cook them together, right? Like like we cook these dry fish flakes in that stock, right? But like after like done, you have to strain them out because that's not gonna be like good texture for the ramen, the stock as a ramen stock, right? So right, so
で、ここに元だれと香味を入れていくわけなんですけど、つけ麺の、元だれは一応ヤマトのレシピではこんな感じになってます。
so the tare, like we're gonna add like tare like to that the stock, right? And then flavor oil, and the tare basically consists of these things.
この分量で元だれを合わせていきます。
Yeah, so this is part of like digital cooking practice, but like we're gonna blend these together.
すみません。元だれを測るときはこういうすごい細かい部分まで測れるを使ってあります。
Yeah, so we use this scale that can measure up to like 1/10 of a gram. It's very precise scale.
で、ここにそれぞれも測ったものがあるので、これをもう合わせていきます。
And I actually already measured like each one of like in advance, and so like we're just gonna put them together in the sauce bowl. Okay, yeah.
これが入って、これ香味油ですね。
And so that was the tare, and then like this is the flavor oil. That's mixture of like different oils.
香味油も入れます。ここにスープを入れるわけなんですけど、先に麺が上がってるので麺を入れます。
Yeah, so I'm gonna add that base stock to that bowl, but because the noodles are ready, so let me.
加熱
plate the noodles. Yeah, so like tsukimi noodles can be, the noodles can be like warm or like cold, but this one's cold. So yeah, after cooking them and like washing them and then chill them. Yeah, so I wanna kind of make like presentation nicely. So like let me comb the noodle strands like through and just make them kind of look nice. Yeah, it's like combing the hair. That's yeah. Okay, so let me plate it. Okay, so that's noodles. Yeah. So for toppings, yeah, I got like some like typical toppings for tsukemen, and it's kind of like it's very standard toppings that you see like on tsukemen dish. So chashu, that's I think pork shoulder. Then bamboo shoot, marinated bamboo shoot. Emma, we call them. Then egg. Yeah, well, the slicing egg like knife like just gonna be like kind of crush the like surface of the egg, right? Like it cuts surface of the egg. So like we usually use this the strand to cut it to make the surface sharp. That's sudachi citrus. It's mitsuba, like kind of herb, leafy herb like we use in Japan. Okay. So okay, so that's the noodle plate. This noodle plate, and then so tsukemen, like you usually have like a bowl for dipping soup, right, separately. All right, so that's tsukemen, like using like kotteri ramen soup, and well, this time around, like she made it with the pork thigh bones, and then the pork shoulder to add like some collagen to emulsify the stock. So